Discover the sinister secrets of William Blake, a haunted journey into the forbidden occult. Sarah felt it in her bones, a creeping dread that settled over every mundane corner of Maplewood. The neighborhood was a picture-perfect postcard, but beneath it lay shadows that lurked, waiting. Her life had become a disheveled puzzle, the pieces of her crumbling marriage scattered amidst the polished driveways and invasive smiles of neighbors who didn't quite know her pain, or maybe they did. Just a few weeks post-divorce, while grappling with the relentless demands of work and her spirited 7-year-old, Lily, the late-night respite at the Old Town Library offered Sarah a fleeting refuge until it didn't. While restocking shelves during her break, she stumbled upon a worn book, pages yellowed with age. She'd never seen it before. Inside, ink-stained margins whispered of William Blake, a name synonymous with dark legend in Maplewood. Every flicker in her gut screamed to put it down, as if the words were alive, twisting with ancient secrets and eerie disappearances from the town's past. Just a legend, she murmured, though the knot in her stomach grew tighter. The book spoke of rituals wrapped in shadow, of children who vanished without a trace, leaving only echoes of laughter. Panic began to simmer as whispers in the community flashed through her mind. Maplewood's charm was sinister, hidden behind every manicured lawn. The friendliest neighbor, Mr. Jenkins, a brimming smile and warm pie delivery, suddenly seemed to morph into an unsettling figure, his laughter echoing in the silence of her thoughts. The undercurrent of danger beneath their smiles hit her like a thunderclap. They were not friends. They were watchful eyes. Chilling stories of occult practices weren't just folklore, they were warnings. Sarah caught glimpses of shadows flickering past her window as she rushed home from her night shift at the hospital. Was it just exhaustion or something darker? Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. That night, terror made a home in her chest. A panicked call from Lily, her voice quivering with fear, pulled Sarah back to the present. Mommy, there's a man outside. Panic washed over her like ice water. The drive home crawled by. She felt every heartbeat hammering louder than the last. When she rushed through the front door, her house was haunted by silence. A toy lay broken on the floor, empty curtains looming over her like ominous spirits. Had somebody come here? Had they watched her daughter? It couldn't just be her imagination, not when her instincts screamed at her to protect Lily, yet dread clawed at her rationality. As she explored further, the unshakable sensation of unseen eyes zeroed in on her, stretched the fabric of her sanity. Days turned to nights, shadows grew longer, and whispers turned into a crescendo of fear. As she peeled back layers of Maplewood's past, the name William Blake echoed louder than ever, his legacy entangled in the missing children, the safety of her own precious daughter at risk. A revelation slammed into her: this was not an ordinary town. The pressure mounted as Sarah confronted the depths of darkness hiding behind friendly, trusting facades. Could she really protect Lily from this lurking monster, perhaps even one cloaked in kind gestures? As she edged closer to the truth buried in haunting echoes, a chilling question trickled in her mind: what if some secrets in Maplewood were never meant to be unearthed? The ringing of her phone broke the suffocating silence. Sarah's heart leaped as she grabbed it, her palms slick with sweat. Mommy, he's still out there. Lily's voice trembled. I can see him. Stay inside. Lock the doors, honey. I'm almost home. The urgency in her voice felt thin against the darkness gathering around her. Each stoplight flickered like a sinister countdown. Her mind raced. Who was outside? Had they come for Lily? A storm of thoughts swirled every horror story she'd ever heard, whispered vile possibilities. As she neared their home, she caught sight of a figure lurking just beyond the shadowy outline of her yard. Tall, faceless, limbs stretched unnaturally long, blending into the night like a nightmare emerging from a child's drawing. The figure didn't move, it just stood there, watching. Paralyzed by fear, Sarah forced herself to focus. She barreled through the front door and locked it behind her. The house felt cold and empty, even as she raced to the living room where she found Lily, huddled on the couch, eyes wide with terror. "Mommy, he's staring at me," she whimpered, pointing toward the window. "Lily, stay quiet. Please." Sarah pressed her finger to her lips, but her heart pounded so hard, she could barely hear herself think. With every instinct screaming at her to protect her daughter, she crept toward the window. She peeked through the curtain, her breath hitching as she scanned the yard. Nothing. The figure was gone. Relief washed over her, but just as quickly, dread slithered back in. Was it a trick? Was he watching from the shadows? What if he comes back? Lily squeaked, shivering under a blanket. Sarah took a deep breath. "He won tea, we just need to lock up. Let us check the back door." As they moved through the house, Sarah's mind was in a frenzy, replaying every odd interaction she had with the neighbors. Everyone had turned stale. Mr. Jenkins and his disconcerting soulless gaze now haunted her. And who else was watching? She felt exposed, like prey under the unblinking stares of those who hid their darkness behind a smile. Suddenly, Lily pointed toward the front door, eyes widened again. "Mommy!" "The man!" Sarah whirled around, heart racing. A slow, deliberate knock reverberated through the silence. Each sound echoed like a countdown. Should she open it? Her hand shook, hovering just above the handle. "Lily, stay back," she whispered sharply. Another knock. Louder this time, more urgent. It wouldn't stop, it called to her, insistent and chilling. With the last shred of bravery, she pressed her back against the wall, edged closer to the door, and peered through the peephole. A face, pale and gaunt, filled the small circle. The eyes were too wide, sunken, and a slow smile stretched across cracked lips. "Let me in, Sarah. I can help you help." Who was he to offer help? The words rolled uncomfortably in her mind. Panic flared, and she stumbled back, realizing that the darkness that had whispered to her all along had a voice, and it was here, in her home. "Mommy, who is it?" Lily's soft voice trembled as she hid behind the couch. "Stay quiet. Don't say a word." Sarah gripped her daughter's shoulders, wanting to shield her from whatever fate loomed at their doorstep. But then her phone buzzed on the table, slicing through the tension. It was a message from an unknown number, chilling in its simplicity. "You've awakened what was sleeping." Her blood ran cold. Had she stumbled too far into the secrets of William Blake? Was this nightmare just beginning? As she stood frozen, with the apparition at the door waiting patiently, another sinister thought struck her. What if, by seeking the truth, she'd already sealed their fate? The weight of the message pressed down on Sarah like a lead blanket. Her heart raced, each thump a reminder of the vulnerability she felt. "You've awakened what was sleeping." She could feel the urgency in her bones, the bitter taste of fear coiling in her throat. "Mommy?" Lily's whisper cut through the tendrils of dread wrapping around them. "Just, stay close," Sarah managed, her voice trembling. She glanced towards the door, the figure still shrouded in silence beyond the wood. Was he waiting? Watching? Each eye seemed to burn through the door, digging into her soul. The phone buzzed again, another message. With only a flicker of hesitation, she stole a glance. "It's hungry, Sarah." The simple word slithered through her thoughts. Hungry? For what? No. No. She pushed the device away, panic swelling in her chest. "We need to keep quiet. No more distractions." Lily clutched the blanket tighter, her small body shivering. Shadows danced across the walls as storm clouds gathered outside, lightning slicing through the darkness, illuminating the room in stark flashes. Each time the light flickered, she felt her sanity fraying, a fragile thread ready to snap. "Mommy, what do we do?" Lily's voice quivered, a soft plea that twisted deeper into Sarah's heart, pulling her further into a pit of despair. The pounding at the door grew more insistent, a steady rhythm mixing with the thunder rumbling outside. "Sarah," he called out again, a low growl that sent icy tendrils creeping up her spine. An idea struck. Desperate times called for desperate measures. "We can't stay here. We have to get to the car." "But what if he's out there?" Lily's eyes brimmed with tears. "We can't stay inside. He'll come in. We need to leave. Now." Each word dripped with urgency as Sarah steeled herself, shaking off the paralysis. She grabbed her daughter's hand, weaving through the dimly lit house toward the back door. The strong scent of rain hit them as Sarah reached for the handle. A flash of lightning illuminated the yard. There he was again, the tall figure, closer now, looming in the flickering light. Panic clawed at her throat. "Stay behind me," she hissed. Lily nodded, trembling. They stepped into the rain, the cold droplets hitting like icy needles as they dashed toward the car. Every shadow seemed alive, or perhaps it was just her imagination. Lightning split the sky, and in that brief moment, Sarah swore she saw the figure dissolve back into the shadows just beyond the trees. She froze, heart pounding. Hurrying towards the car, she fumbled with the keys, her fingers slick with rain. The chill seeped into her bones as she hesitated, scanning the yard one last time. Nothing was there but dread clawed at her feet, rooting her to the ground. Finally, she turned the ignition, the engine roaring to life, a small comfort in the chaos. "Mommy, what if he follows us?" Lily's voice was small and fragile. "We won't let him." Sarah gritted her teeth. "We'll get away," but doubt pricked at her certainty. Suddenly, the phone buzzed again, vibrating violently against the dashboard. She glanced at it, another message from the same unknown number. "He's already inside." Her heart sank, blood turning to ice as dread filled her. "Mommy." Before she could respond, the back seat door flew open. A cold gust of wind filled the car, swirling with an unnatural chill. There, with an empty grin, the faceless figure loomed closer. Time to play. Sarah's breath hitched as darkness flooded the car. But then a sly thought whispered at the back of her mind, burning with a newfound desperation. Was the truth worse than the nightmare they faced? Just as she turned to answer her daughter, the lights flickered one last time, plunging them into abyss. What had awakened, indeed? The darkness closed in, oppressive and heavy. Sarah's breath quickened, panic clawing at her throat. The figure drew closer, its grin stretching in a way that defied nature itself. It was as if shadows merged to create a grotesque parody of a man. "Get down!" she screamed, yanking Lily close as the figure lunged into the car. With a crash, the back door slammed shut. The weight of the world pressed on Sarah's chest. She willed herself to move, to escape. Desperation coursed through her veins. She glanced at Lily, who curled into a ball, terror etched on her small face. "Hold on tight." With trembling hands, she shifted the car into reverse, spinning the wheel as rain pounded like fists against metal. The engine roared in defiance, tires screeched against the slick surface. They surged backward, leaving behind the not-quite-human figure lurking in the shadows. But as visions of safety flashed in Sarah's mind, the presence pressed in closer. A flash of lightning illuminated the figure outside, revealing it running unnaturally fast, gliding on the wet ground, an impossible speed. It didn't follow a path, it seemed to bend reality. Her heart raced as the world warped distortedly around them. "Mommy, he's coming." Lily's voice carried pure, innocent dread. "I know." Sarah shouted, gripping the steering wheel tighter, fueled by fear. Flecks of rain exploded against the windshield like tiny stones, seconds ticking away. Darkness was their only company, the chaotic rhythm of thunder drowning out their heavy breaths. She hit the gas, the tires squealed, propelling them into the storm, the car a fragile shell against the elements. Through the downpour, she spotted the road ahead barely visible, a slim lifeline in the abyss. Just keep holding on, just keep holding on, the mantra echoed in her mind, fighting to drown out her fears. But just as hope crept in, the headlights caught something moving in the rearview mirror. It was there. So fast, so close. The figure flickered in and out of existence, like a bad signal on an old television. Each time lightning flashed, it appeared nearer, its expression more sinister. "Mommy!" Lily's scream cut through Sarah's focused panic, childlike terror resounding. "Stay down." Sarah tightened her grip, regret already seeping into her thoughts. Did she have the strength to protect Lily this time? Would they survive? Suddenly, the car lurched in a reckless swerve as the figure lunged toward them through the window, its hand reaching out, a hand with a twisted, empty palm. "Look out!" It was too late. Sarah flinched, bracing for impact, but a loud crunch of metal greeted her ears, along with an icy shriek. Screeching tires echoed into a void as the car careened off the roadside, tumbling into the thick underbrush. Silence fell abruptly. The outside world faded to a haunting stillness, as if the storm held its breath. Wind howled softly through the trees, whispering secrets that sent shivers down her spine. Heart racing, Sarah sat still, listening intently. She turned toward Lily, who looked wide-eyed and pale. "Are you okay?" "Mommy," Lily whispered, pointing forward. What lay ahead was more shadow than substance and impenetrable darkness. But something shifted within it. A slow emergence of movement. Did the figure chase them here? Did it follow them from the house? After a moment of stillness, a low, rumbling laugh echoed from the void. "Now, the real game begins." Sarah's heart stopped. Her mind screamed for escape, but they were trapped. Trapped in a world of shadows and nightmares. As the figure slowly stepped into the dying light, its grin seemed sharper, confident as it reached toward them once more. What would it take to awaken a greater horror? Would Sarah find out how deep the terror truly ran before it was too late? The car lay still, swallowed by the shadows of the forest. Sarah's breath caught in her throat, every nerve screaming as she strained to peer into the darkness. The chilling laugh still echoed, taunting her, slipping into her mind like a dark whisper. "Mommy!" Lily's small voice quivered beside her, breaking the silence with a sharp jolt of reality. "Shoo, honey. We need to be very quiet," Sarah replied, her voice barely a whisper, barely a breath. The low rustle of the wind seemed to carry sounds from beyond the scraping of branches, the soft padding of something moving closer. The shadows stirred as she glimpsed a flicker of movement, and her heart slammed against her chest like a malfunctioning clock. Maybe it didn't follow us. The idea felt feeble, clinging to the edges of her mind. But hope faltered as the figure took another step into whatever twilight was left. Its body was now a silhouette, twisted and monstrous, the way darkness should never have been formed. Lily clutched Sarah's arm, her small fingers digging into her skin. "Mommy, I'm scared." "I know, sweet pea. I know," Sarah soothed, squeezing her daughter's hand tightly. The warmth of Lily's pulse was a fragile tether to her sanity. But that warmth felt threatened, smothered by the encroaching dread. Suddenly, there was a bang, a hard thud against the car's roof. They both froze. The sound reverberated, lending life to the silence around them. The figure was outside, now more than just a shadow. It was a presence, a promise of pain. Another thunderclap shook the night, and for a split second, the figure's face was lit, a vicious grin plastered across its visage. "Time to play," it sang, each syllable dripping with malice. Panic surged within Sarah. She knew in that heartbeat they couldn't just sit here. "We have to get out. We have to move." Her fingers fumbled for the lock, panic adding urgency. "Where?" Lily's voice trembled, tears streaming, expressing that raw and innocent fear. "Just, anywhere but here." With a breath that felt like fire, she unlocked the door and flung it open. The cold night air slammed into them, bringing with it the scent of damp earth and something metallic, a hint of iron that gripped her stomach in terror. Sarah arrived first, helping Lily out and into the embrace of the underbrush. They ducked low, hidden beneath the thick mass of leaves. Every rustle felt amplified, every shadow took on form, taking them deeper into a web of fear. Shivering, Sarah glanced at Lily, seeing the desperate innocence in her daughter's eyes. "We have to keep moving." Then, from a distance, she heard laughter again, rich with pleasure, filling the air like a horrific melody. It was following them, playing a twisted game. In the gloom, she pulled Lily forward, heart thundering wildly. They stumbled through the trees, branches clawing at their clothes and skin, each movement louder than the last. The laughter grew closer, deeply unsettling, echoing over and over, feeding on the night. "Run, Mommy! It's right behind us!" Lily screamed. Sarah's heart dropped. She felt the cold breath of panic clawing at her neck, the darkness looming ever closer, stretching its grasp. Just ahead, she spotted what looked like an old, abandoned structure peeking through the trees. A barn, maybe. "Over there." She pointed, hope igniting a flicker in her chest. They dashed forward, urgency like electric shock coursing through her legs, but something shifted behind them. The cold presence loomed, rising like smoke. As they neared the barn, the doors swung open with a hostile creak, inviting them into a void. A dark figure lingered at the threshold, shifting in the shadows. Lily gasped again, her small hand slipping from Sarah's grasp. The figure smiled, that horrible, all-knowing grin widening. "Welcome home." Before Sarah could react, the air thickened. The shadows whispered secrets of their own, like spider silk wrapping around her mind, pulling her backwards. What terrors lay inside? And how could she possibly uncover the truth before it consumed them both? Would they find sanctuary, or step into a darkness deeper than before? The barn loomed above them, an ancient creature, its dilapidated walls soaked in secrets. Sarah felt the weight of its darkness pressing against her chest, as if the very would absorb the fear they embodied. She hesitated, dread clawing at her insides. But behind them, the laughter grew louder, its cadence mocking, echoing through the trees. "Mommy!" Lily's terrified whimper cut through the air, crystal clear and sharp. Sarah's instinct kicked in, overriding her fear. It wasn't just about her anymore, she had to protect her little girl. "Stay close," she hissed, clutching Lily's hand tighter, dragging her inside. They crossed the threshold, and the barn's interior swallowed them whole, thickening the air around them. The shadows danced, both alive and watchful. Flecks of moonlight filtered through the rotting beams above, illuminating the dust motes that twisted and spun in the air. The ground was littered with debris, old tools, bits of wood, and remnants of something that had once been alive. As they took cautious steps deeper into the barn, a cold gust swept through, pushing the door shut behind them with a resounding thud. "Mommy, I don't like it here." Lily's voice trembled, her little face pale as she pressed against Sarah's side. "I know, baby, but we need to be brave. We are safe for now." But Sarah's words felt hollow, a facade hiding her own rising panic. The laughter reverberated outside, a sinister chorus that seemed to envelop the barn. In that moment, Sarah grew hyper-aware of every sound: the creak of the wood, the distant rustle of leaves, and, most horrifyingly, the low, rhythmic thumping of something heavy being dragged across the ground. "Do you hear that?" she whispered, her lips barely moving. Lily nodded, a stark terror mirrored in her wide eyes. The sound grew closer, echoing through the hollow space, and Sarah recognized it as the footsteps of an unseen entity, coming for them. "Hide!" she urged, pulling Lily into a dim corner, behind an old row of hay bales that smelled overwhelmingly of mildew. Their breaths came rapid and shallow, hearts hammering in unison. Seconds felt like hours. Shadows flickered like candle flames, and from their cramped sanctuary, they peered out into the barn. What lurked within its depths? Had the figure followed them? Suddenly, the barn door creaked open again, swinging on rusty hinges. In stepped the figure, silhouetted against the moonlight, stark and tall, each movement calculated. It didn't need to rush, it thrived on fear, and it knew they were trapped. "Are you playing hide and seek?" it called, voice dripping with sickening sweetness, twisting the words into something grotesque. "I love that game." Lily's fingers dug into Sarah's arm as she whimpered softly. "Mommy, I'm so scared. I know, baby. But we can't let it find us." They could see the figure moving slowly, a predator savoring the moment. It lingered near the old wooden crates, inspecting them as if searching for something or someone. Sarah's mind raced, filled with desperate thoughts. They needed a way out. They couldn't stay. But if they moved, their breath would betray them. Then the figure turned, its face barely illuminated, but the glint of its eyes was unmistakable, sharp, hungry, shining with an insatiable hunger. It scanned the shadows, a predator in search of its prey. come out, wherever you are," it taunted, smiling wide, teeth glistening. That grin burned into Sarah's mind. It was a monstrous invitation, sweetened by malice. She felt the terror clawing deeper, wrapping around her throat. Just then, she noticed an opening, a small gap in the barn wall, concealed by overgrown weeds. "Lily, we have to move. Now." But as they shifted, a heavy thud echoed once more, shaking the barn to its creaking bones. The figure stopped, froze, and then turned slowly towards them, the twisted smile never fading. "Looks like I found you." Sarah's heart raced. They were caught, the darkness closing in. Would they find the exit, or was this the final game of hide and seek? With a surge of adrenaline, she decided. Run. Just as they bolted toward the gap, something slammed against the wall behind them, splintering the wood and sending shards flying. The chase was on. Would they escape the clutches of this malevolent force, or were they racing toward a fate worse than death? Time was slipping. What secrets awaited them in the night, and would they lead to a horrifying revelation or their doom? The sound of splintering wood echoed through the barn, the noise sharp and sickening, each crack like a whispered warning. Sarah's heart hammered in her chest as she pulled Lily along, desperation driving her forward. The gap was only a few feet away, but it felt like miles. Every footfall echoed, as if the barn itself mocked their desperate flight. "Faster, Lily," she urged, each word feeling like a plea. The little girl stumbled slightly, fear evident on her face, but there was no time to comfort her. The looming figure laughed low and chilling as it shifted, the sound reverberating off the rotted beams, a sinister melody to their fear. They dashed toward the gap, but just as they reached it, the heavy entity lunged. In the dim light, Sarah caught a glimpse of its jagged teeth, the glint of madness in its eyes. It was just behind them, the darkness coalescing into a horrific silhouette full of menace. "Hold my hand." Lily clutched Sarah's, her small fingers trembling. They ducked through the gap, scraping their skin against the splintered wood. Cold night air hit them like a slap, but there was no relief. Their escape was only just beginning. "Keep running," Sarah shouted, feeling the urge to look back claw at her. But in such darkness, to look back was to invite death. The laughter followed them, a sick reminder that something wicked was intent on their capture. They stumbled into the open field, the moonlight illuminating their escape but providing no sanctuary. The laughter echoed behind them, growing fainter but never truly gone. Sarah dared a short glance over her shoulder. The barn stood tall amidst the night, a black hole against the star-studded sky. "Where do we go?" Lily's voice cracked, panic rising like bile in Sarah's throat. She scanned their surroundings, vision darting from the looming barn to the tree line ahead, where shadows twisted ominously. "Yes, the trees. We can hide there." But as they made their way toward the trees, the ground beneath them shifted with caught step, as if the earth were alive and resenting their intrusion. The darkness of the woods beckoned, an inviting abyss filled with unknown perils. "Mommy, I see it," Lily whispered, pointing ahead. In the distance, a faint glow pulsated from the tree-line, flickering like an unholy beacon. Tentatively, Sarah led Lily toward it, her heart pounding in rhythm with the glow. What could it be? Was it a way out, or another trap laid by the shadowy figure? The laughter burst out again, echoing from the barn, but this time layered with something else sharp, piercing sobs mixed with laughter that sent shivers racing down Sarah's spine. What is that? The light grew closer. As they approached, an overwhelming dread gripped Sarah. She could feel the darkness closing in behind them, a suffocating blanket that would wrap around her at any moment. "Mommy, it's not safe," Lily cried, hesitant. "Just a bit closer, sweetheart," Sarah urged, though her voice was wavering. This light was different. It was beckoning, promising safety, or was it? Then, suddenly, from the shadows, a shriek erupted. It was haunting, filled with grief and longing. Sarah's blood ran cold as she recognized the sound, a mourning wail that twisted her heart. "Mommy, please." Lily's grip tightened, pulling back, sensing the danger. But something in Sarah pushed her forward. She had to know. Drawing closer, she squinted into the glimmering light, and what she saw made her blood freeze. Figures, spectral and twisted, moving in the shadows. Then they turned, hollow faces staring back at her, eyes swirling with despair and hunger. "Run!" She yanked Lily away from the horror, adrenaline pumping furiously. The figures began to move closer, a whispering wind hissing the names of the forgotten in a chorus of agony. As they dashed back toward the safety of the open field, the laughter grew near again, echoing through the woods, morphing into a cacophony, an invitation to play, a call to surrender. What awaited them in the depths of that twisted forest? Would they survive the encroaching darkness, or were they fated to join the anguished souls trapped within? The gnawing question lingered: what would they find at the heart of the glow, and was it an escape, or a descent into madness? Panic surged through Sarah as she and Lily tore across the field, each step feeling like a desperate gamble against an unseen enemy. The laughter pulsed through the air, a demonic chorus creeping ever closer. Shadows danced at the edges of her vision, mocking and twisting. "Faster, Mommy!" Lily cried, her voice a thin thread in the suffocating night. Sarah glanced at her daughter's terrified eyes, and her heart twisted with a mix of fear and resolve. They couldn't stop now, not when something as malevolent as that laughter loomed behind them. Every instinct screamed at her to run toward the safety of the woods, to reach that strange flickering light. "Just a bit longer, Lily," she gasped, her breath coming in ragged gasps as they neared the tree-line. The trees stood like ancient sentinels, gnarled limbs extending into the inky darkness. An oppressive quiet settled around them as they entered the woods, a stark contrast to the chaos they had fled. Branches scratched at their skin, whispering secrets in the wind, urging them deeper into the forest's embrace where the glow flickered ominously. "Mommy, I don't like it," Lily whimpered, clutching onto Sarah's hand tighter. "I know, sweetie. But we have to trust the light," Sarah lied, her own uneasiness coiling tightly in her stomach. With each step, the air thickened, weighing heavy with a chill that slithered up her spine. As they pressed on, the silhouettes of the spectral figures loomed within the shadows, just out of reach. Hollow faces, twisted in grief, echoed their silent scream, a soundless plea that unnerved Sarah to the core. "Where are we going?" Lily asked, her small voice barely breaking the silence. "To the light," Sarah whispered, unconsciously willing it to guide them home. But the darkness felt alive, pulsing around them, and the laughter trailed through the night like a mocking ghost. They reached the source of the flickering glow, an old stone altar covered in moss. The eerie light flickered from a crudely carved symbol, glowing as if it breathed. It pulsed in time with Sarah's heart, an unholy heartbeat that sent her gut twisting violently. "Stay close to me," she muttered, forcing her legs to move, stepping cautiously toward the altar. It looked untouched by time, yet it throbbed with a sense of foreboding. Lily edged closer, entranced. "What is it?" It's nothing. Just old stone." The words tasted like ash in Sarah's mouth as she knelt to inspect the markings. They spiraled outwards, grotesque and intricate, seemingly alive with their own sinister energy. Strange echoes whispered around her. "Mommy?" Lily's voice shook. Sarah turned, and her breath hitched. The spectral figures emerged from the shadows, drawn closer by the altar's unnerving glow, their hollow eyes fixated on them, mouths moving in a twisted incantation, pleading, demanding. "What do they want?" Lily asked, backing away, fear spilling over. "I don't know," panic bubbled in Sarah's throat. "But we have to go." As she turned to escape, the ground beneath them trembled. The light flickered violently, and the laughter erupted once more, harsh and gleeful, a cacophony of hunger swirling in the air. "Run!" They dashed into the undergrowth, branches clawing at them as the laughter morphed into anguished howls, the woods alive with secrets that churned in the darkness. The figures surged forward, stretching out grotesque hands that glimmered with an otherworldly light. "Mommy, they're coming!" Lily shrieked, terror echoing in her voice, heart racing. Sarah bolted deeper into the woods. The trees seemed to twist and turn, uprooting their paths, as if conspiring against them, each shadow a reminder of their dwindling chances of survival. Was this the fate that awaited her and Lily? A sudden calm enveloped them, the laughter receding, silencing the wails. "Mommy, look!" Lily pointed ahead. Emerging from the gloom was another clearing. The moon hung low, coating everything in silver light. But at the center lay an ancient well, its surface shimmering like glass, reflecting the stars swirling above. "Is it safe?" Lily whispered. Eyes wide with fear and wonder. Before Sarah could answer, a soft glow danced above the well, illuminating what lay in its depths. Familiar faces twisted within the glassy surface, people from stories, lost souls waiting to emerge. "Please, help us," their voices emanated, a siren call wrapped in despair. Something deep within twisted in Sarah's chest. Was this a chance to save them or another trap? "Mommy, I don't like it. We can't." The decision loomed heavy over Sarah. Should they dare approach it, or should they flee into the dark abyss behind them? The wind howled through the trees, an aggressive whisper, and the laughter began to crescendo around them again. What awaited them at the well? Salvation or doom? Chills raced down her spine as the glow pulsated intensively, beckoning her closer. Would they remain trapped in this nightmare, or could they adapt and change the course of their fate? The ache for answers clawed at her mind as they faced the unknown. Would they discover the truth buried deep within that well? The glow pulsated again, drawing Sarah's eyes to the well's surface, where those familiar faces twisted and writhed in silent anguish. A chill slithered through her insides, intertwining with the dread that enveloped her. Every instinct screamed to turn away, yet the voices trapped within the well called to her like sirens lost in the storm. Mommy Lily's tiny hand trembled in hers, pulling her back toward safety. "Please, we have to leave. This is bad." "I know, sweetie," Sarah managed, her throat tightening. The laughter grew louder, a cacophony of madness that crashed against her skull. Was it a warning or an invitation? She could feel the weight of the hesitance pushing down on her chest. What if they're just lost? A small, naive part of her whispered, the thought taking root amidst the chaos. But as the distorted faces melted together, sorrow, rage, despair, she knew better. They were not here to be saved. Lily suddenly tugged her with all her strength, panic sparking as her daughter's eyes widened in horror. "They're coming." Without thinking, Sarah whipped around. The shadows moved, creeping toward them, their forms now more defined, grotesque mouths stretching into malicious smiles, eyes glistening with a ravenous hunger. They were getting closer. "Run!" Sarah screamed, yanking Lily in the opposite direction. They sprinted back the way they had come, the forest closing in around them like jaws snapping at their heels. The laughter morphed into a guttural roar, drowning out the sounds of the night, as if the woods themselves had awakened to join the hunt. Panic clawed at Sarah's mind, urging her to flee deeper into the dark embrace of the trees. Branches snagged her clothes, tugging at her as if desperate to restrain her. Each step felt like quicksand, the earth pulling her down, forming a sticky bond between her and the horrors behind them. The laughter, that vile surviving echo, surged again, now sharp with malice and taunting cruelty. "Mommy, please!" Lily cried, tears streaming down her cheeks. Sarah's heart shattered for her daughter. She couldn't allow fear to consume them. They had to find somewhere to hide. Ahead, through the twisting trunks, she glimpsed another clearing, a patch of sanity amidst the encroaching madness. "Over there," she urged, funneling every ounce of strength into her legs. They broke free from the trees into a small meadow, breathless and gasping for air. But the sense of safety evaporated as the shadows loomed at the edge, relentless. Suddenly, the ground beneath their feet quaked violently. "No!" Sarah shouted, losing her balance as the earth ripped open with a deafening crack. Lily screamed. "Mommy!" With quick reflexes, Sarah yanked her daughter away from the growing chasm. They stumbled back, chest heaving, and as if in response to their terror, the faces within the well emerged from the depths, their silent cries now replaced with a haunting roar that echoed across the clearing, mingling with the laughter. The well had become a vortex of despair, thirsting for more souls. Sarah's rational thoughts faded, replaced by primal instincts. Should she fight for their lives or confront this dark force? Just then, from the edge of the chasm, a skeletal hand reached out, fingers extending towards them. "Help us!" The plea was raspy, laden with a lifetime of regret. "Mommy, please!" Lily begged, eyes wide with horror. Heart pounding, Sarah felt the choice weigh heavily. Desire for rescue clashed with survival. Were the souls staring back benevolent or malicious? They needed to escape, but the shimmering call of the well tugged at her resolve. Could she face whatever lay inside that reflection of darkness? What awaited them at the edge? A way out or a deeper descent into madness? Lily clutched her arm, a spark of determination catching in Sarah's chest as the laughter faded momentarily into something that sounded eerily like a whisper. "Lily, hold on to me tightly. No matter what happens, we stay together. No turning back." As she prepared to leap toward the unknown, a chilling realization settled over her. What if the well held the key to understanding their torment? And what if, just like the figures in the trees, they were marked for something far worse? The laughter roared back to life, and the unsettling whispers filled the air, threatening to drown out everything. "Are you ready to uncover the truth?" it seemed to taunt as Sarah held her breath and prepared to plunge into whatever awaited them. What lay at the bottom of the well? Would they find answers or lose everything? In that fleeting moment, time seemed to freeze. Sarah could feel the weight of the world on her shoulders, yet a flickering spark of hope ignited somewhere deep inside her, a hope that if they faced this darkness together, perhaps they could conquer it. "On three, Lily. 1, 2, 3. She squeezed her daughter's hand and leapt toward the unknown. The air felt thick as they plummeted into the abyss, the wind whipping around them like angry whispers, pulling at their clothes, threatening to tear them apart. The fall felt endless, but suddenly they landed with a thud on a cold, damp surface. Dazed, Sarah blinked away the darkness that enveloped them. A soft glow illuminated the cavern around them, and as she looked around, her heart raced. They were in the heart of the well, surrounded by swirling mists and etchings that covered the stones, revealing the anguished faces of those long lost. "Mommy!" Lily whimpered, clinging to her tightly. "It's okay, sweetheart. We're together," Sarah assured, her voice steadier than her heart felt. As Sarah stepped forward into the glow, the whispers wrapped around them, intensifying into a maddening chorus, familiar voices echoing eons of suffering. "Help us," they pleaded, arms reaching out of the stone walls, ghostly figures trapped in a relentless torment. Memories surged. Sarah recognized their plight. Each face was a child from Maplewood, children who had vanished from their homes without a trace. Crystal realization hit her like a freight train. They weren't lost in the woods, they were trapped here, she whispered, terror flooding her senses. "Run!" Lily cried, her voice breaking through the cacophony, spurring Sarah into action. The two of them dashed through the damp cavern, the glow flickering ominously behind them. Suddenly, the walls began to tremble as the laughter roared back, deep and menacing, a twisted echo of the shadows that chased them. "You think you can escape?" A voice boomed through the chamber, low and taunting, sending chills spiraling through Sarah's body. "You are already a part of this game." With no time to lose, they spotted a narrow passage veiled in shadow. "This way," Sarah urged, determination driving her forward as the darkness roared behind them, hungry for their despair. They squeezed into the cramped passage, crawling through the tightness of the earth that seemed alive, constricting as if trying to trap them. "Mommy!" Lily squeaked as they moved forward, clinging to Sarah's hand for dear life. "Keep moving, sweet pea. I'm right here," Sarah replied, bolstered by Lily's spirit, pushing through every chill, every grunt of fear. She thought about all the stories that had struck fear into Maplewood's heart, the tales of children's laughter lost, twisted into cries of terror. This was what the town had feared all along. Emerging from the passage, they found themselves in a round room, the stone walls adorned with intricate engravings of William Blake's rituals, the very warnings she had found in the book. A center altar stood before them, thundering with energy, radiating a pulse that intensified with every beat of their hearts. Each offering, the voice echoed again, sinister and sweet as honey, your strength shall anchor the darkness. Feed the despair, and join the laughter. Everything clicked for Sarah. If the darkness thrived on fear, she could turn the tide. "We want to let you take us," she shouted with all her might, defiance roaring in her veins. Lily stepped forward, eyes bright with determination. "We aren't afraid of you. You can't play with us." The voice faltered for a moment, revealing uncertainty. The shadows pulsed and writhed in response to their fearless declaration. "Mommy, can we help them?" Lily asked softly, her little heart tugging at the kindness within her. "Perhaps if we confront the truth together, they don't have to suffer anymore," Sarah replied, already grasping the possibility. They moved as one toward the altar, the glow intensifying with each step. "We choose compassion over fear," Sarah proclaimed. "Not just for us, but for every soul bound by this curse." Suddenly, the room trembled, as the figures that had once been twisted and wraith-like began to coalesce into children, innocence returning to their faces, the sorrow lifting as they finally found their voice. The anguished cries turned into a chorus of laughter, a beautiful resonance rising to fill the cavern. As the energy swirled around them, the darkness fought back, but with every simultaneous heartbeat from Sarah and Lily, the laughter grew louder, overpowering the shadows. They were not alone, the trapped spirits joined in, embracing the light of love and hope. The ghostly figures surged, enveloping the darkness, and as if it were a vapor, it began to dissolve. With each moment, the laughter became a symphony, resonating through the cavern walls, transforming dread into liberation. "Mommy! Look!" Lily cried out, eyes shining bright as she pointed at the altar, now aglow with warmth. "They're free!" As the last vestiges of darkness melted away, the air felt lighter, the oppressive weight lifting as rays of light flooded the chamber. The children's faces beamed with joy, finally released from the clutches of despair. A powerful force enveloped Sarah and Lily, lifting them until they hovered above the altar, and with a collective breath, they were flung back through the well and emerged under the moonlit sky of Maplewood. Gasping, they tumbled into the damp grass, the chill of the night soothed by the gentle hum of freedom. The darkness surrendered, leaving nothing but echoes of laughter buried deep in the forest behind them. Sarah hugged Lily tightly, relief flooding over her. They were safe. "We did it, baby girl. We faced the darkness together." As they rose, the shadows retreated, disappearing into mere whispers among the trees. The old MacLeod house, the cursed barn, everything that had once loomed ominously felt lighter, transformed by the light of courage and love. This night would mark the end of the horror that had haunted Maplewood. "Mommy?" Lily asked, voice trembling with trepidation but alive with wonder. "Can we tell them what really happened?" Sarah smiled through the tears that had fallen in joy and relief, the bond between them stronger than anything that could threaten to pull them apart. Yes, my love. We'll share it all. Together. As they walked home, the air felt fresher, the shadows receding back into their corners, leaving behind the real magic of Maplewood. They were free, no longer haunted by secrets. And finally, with every breath, Sarah felt truly alive. But before she drifted off to sleep that night, she felt that same deep urgency rise within her, that calling to share their story, to help others understand the eerie shadows of their own minds. That if you found this story gripping, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support and never miss out on the exclusive tales that await you. Smash the like button to feed the algorithm, help us grow, and reach more souls just like yours. And please, flood the comments with your thoughts, reactions, and theories about this ending. Share this journey with at least 5 friends who need to hear this story, and remember, don't wait even one more second. Your support keeps the darkness at bay, ensuring we can dive into more exhilarating stories together.